Hi everyone, welcome to our lounge room, right? Someone said I must sit like this and have the same couches and everything. So today it's all about how do we feed our pregnant tummy, right? So we are like at this stage and we're excited to share it with everyone, right? Thank you everyone for once again tuning. And we are sharing our feeds with everyone, right? And what is fix the camera a little bit more. Do you like our view corner there? Our view corner is very nice. It's very nice. Can we have that? Oh, hotel. And yeah, so we are having and enjoying a week with milk, and we are also enjoying some light tea without milk in a glass of water. And what we want to share with our pregnancy journey. Okay. Yeah, we shouldn't be difficult on ourselves. And we should allow ourselves to enjoy our pregnancy time, right? And while there's so much discussion happening in our generation that relates to pregnancies, we want everyone to take the journey of pregnancy one step at a time and to allow ourselves to enjoy the process. Pregnancy is educating us most of the time about the nurturing process. So we have milk already, yes, in our breast, and we're not going to say that. And it is interesting, yes. We had milk for about how many months already? And the other thing that we want to say, this pregnancy journey is totally different because, right, I've been pregnant for how many times already? And I've given birth to two children already. I've been pregnant in 2020 and I had a miscarriage while I was in South Africa, right? So I'm 39 years old, going to 40 years old. And so I'm not very harsh on myself, but I sometimes be very busy with a lot of things. And I always allow myself to listen to the journey that life educates us about the baby that we are birthing in season. And I have been educated as a mama very harshly. And I always say you don't go and put the baby there one side. And we're gonna have to discuss these matters because we are sensitive about the baby, and we are also having to educate ourselves that the universe in all its amazingness can be harsh on the baby, and the baby is all of us, right? That's everything about us, and the universe can be harsh about the education process. And we're not difficult on one another about the choices that we make about our babies and our pregnancies. And we listen to the complete education that you have learned out of all the amazing experiences. My friend said many years ago, because I was working very hard and I didn't have time to have babies, and I had two babies, and my first baby, there was a little accident that happened when she was 3 years old, and I went to get over that pain, and she was deceased when she was 3 years old, and I got over the pain, and I learned to adapt to the changes in life and the changes in the universe. And I learned to appreciate the amazingness of being part of the amazing universe. I always say that because of Oprah Winfrey, have a child, it's not that people are null and void because they don't have children. It is that in the amazingness of the universe, we are educated differently. We are we're learning to be protective to our wombs, and that's why we are sharing our foods with everyone on this amazing pregnancy journey. Because we have learned that nothing of humanity is ever in vain. I always say when people celebrate a birthday and when they brag and when they have praised other people in life, then I always say don't brag about it, but be appreciative to it and don't go and kill other people out because you want to prove yourself as having to be the person who has lived 80 years and 90 years on earth, right? Always make sure that we learn that the earth is for everyone. I'm just gonna constantly quickly run somewhere. I'm just gonna be there in a minute. Just a minute, everyone. Always learn, we have always learned that life responds differently, the universe responds differently, but we shouldn't go as human beings to chase one another about it. Everyone is allowed to enjoy their breakfast about it. I'm gonna sit just there now when we're done having our breakfast. Everyone is allowed to have breakfast about it. Everyone is allowed to have the breakfast on this table and then they sit on that side when they take the breakfast out. Africa is allowed to be part of the universe, even if the African mama has given babies, and even if the babies are in famine, I mean, even if the African mama is in poverty and the babies are sitting in famine, the universe still gives them an opportunity to embrace the baby. I always say I've educated my business. We are embracing the birthness of it. Yes, and we are not giving up on it. And even though the situation looks like it shouldn't be there, Mama Universe has birthed it into the universe, and Mama Universe are able to look after it and to nurture it. Yes. It doesn't mean if you have a challenging lifestyle choice and you want to give your baby up for adoption to families that can nurture and take care of it, it doesn't mean that that's wrong. No. It just means that the African person, even in Africa, who sits in the famine of it, is allowed to even have a baby and to have a baby again a day after that. And that's what we learn in the universe colors. It's very nice. We have not had the opportunity to educate our, but we're going to do that. We're going to have a glass of water also because of porridge. Our good bits require us to eat and to enjoy and to remind us of when we were children. So when I was a little girl, and I love this color. Why? Because this was my primary school colors. And I love it because it was my most important education that I had in life. Some of the most important, you know, those baby educations that you remember as a little girl, and that you go. People trace you on a journey in life and you find yourself fine through that trace. Yes. What happened to RIBEA when I was a little girl? I was in primary school in New Orleansville, primary school in South Africa, Chicago. Yes. In Paul community, Mama Anna gave birth. Mama Anna was moving and my papa was deceased. And we had all the children in the house. And we were always a lot of children in the house. And because my mama has really given birth to 7 children, and we were 6 children in the house because the firstborn daughter was alive until she was 6 months old. And when we grew to Chicago, we were many years after that, and we had to stay. We had to move. We had to move from a big house into a smaller house, right? And we were staying in Chicago those years, and we were 4 boys, and they were just so little. In America, still has no photos, and Google it is a very amazing education. And there were 4 little boys, and they were part years, right? And her mama was in the part years. and they had to work for her mama had to work in the house, and my mama couldn't because my mama thought it was not right for my mama to stay in the house. And my mama walked out when my mama was very little, and my mama had babies, and she moved on, and she moved out of the apartheid, and after years she reconciled with her brothers and with her mama again. But they never really had the time to reconcile. My mama didn't really have a time after the years to reconcile with her mama, because by the time that Mama Martha got to us again in Chicago, then Mama Martha was old, and Mama Martha was only there for one day. So Mama Anna really didn't have years. Her mama was then always saying the European people where she grew up at, she grew up at it because she went to them when Mama Auntie Fan and Opie after was still very young, and they went to Emery Hope's house. And yes, we are allowed to say names because the story is amazing. And then they went there, and after they went there, they grew up there, and they different lives went into different households and different lives in different community regions. And then when Mama Martha came to meet us as children, we were excited because we learned everyone we also have a grandmama, and we were excited in Chicago those years. And I remember how excited we were. And then Mama Martha got to us, and Mama Martha walked from, I don't know who brought her to us, right? And then Mama Martha was probably 70, 80 when she got to Chicago. And we were so little. And then Mama Martha couldn't understand these little children because we couldn't understand our mama. And we talking to our mama, and we don't know if our mama was a Chinese grandmama. And Mama Martha was very light in skin color. And we looked at Mama Martha, and Mama Martha talked, but like Mama, we can't remember exactly. And we always used to then laugh. And then Mama Martha was like, these are children, please. And the only thing we remember is Mama Martha cooked the pot of rice for us. And then Mama Martha always cooked the pot of rice for us. And then we're like, Mama Martha, you can't cook the rice. And then Mama Martha put the rice away. And then we're like, Mama Martha, our Mama Anna, when she comes from work, she cooks an amazing pot of food. And then everyone eats. And then we were like, no, Mama Martha, you can't just cook a pot of rice every day because there is food that Mama Anna is going to cook. And Mama Martha educated us with that pot of rice. And she didn't say a lot because she didn't speak to us because she spoke differently. And I can't remember if she was speaking Chinese or what she was speaking. And we were never allowed to know our grandmama in a person. You can only see by our good brother Richard Pilander, they was Chinese family line in Mama Martha. Mama Martha was not like Mama Anna, fat. Mama Martha was a tiny little auntie. And she was very little in light in skin color. And there's a photo of her, yes, in South Africa, and I forgot the photo because I really want to look at his Mama Martha because she is from Africa. But remember those years, I think the Chinese papas went and they had children in Africa, and then the children was brought to South Africa about it. And then all the colored children about it here. So that was the process of how the world was managed those years. And it got to really apartheid arguments and discussions. And that's why the world is in so much discussion. They're looking in at us and they know all the stories and where everything happened, but they don't really say who they are and they don't really give information and so on and so on. But it's an amazing education, and therefore they are very sensitive to all of their grandchildren because they exactly know who in the world is all of their grandchildren, and they exactly know all of the information. And that is why I always say the world shouldn't argue with them. And a lot of South African people are to really Chinese grandchildren, and a lot of people in the world. And I always time. There's a whole time a break, a pause happening, but it's a good pause, and maybe I set the pause or something about it. And that's why I do not argue with the Chinese people because a lot of us derive from that. They manage a whole lot of offices and they have educated the world and they have really looked after families in a way, but they've really also been deprived of looking after families. And they have really, a lot of people argued with them about it, and they can't explain it exactly in all its amazingness. Education women, we appreciate, we had our VPK, we appreciate the amazing education journey and how we learn from the one the other. And we learned what our parents taught us to not argue the whole time along. If other people argue, we leave it at that and we don't argue with. Because some people used to say those years, it's a whole, what do you call non-support in English? It's a whole maintenance to pay child maintenance. It's a whole child maintenance argument happening in the world. And everyone knows who everyone's children's are. But I always say when you all know we are your children, I'm going to chase us around when we do wrong. Because they sometimes everyone manages the processes in that way. So if we are doing wrong and y'all don't agree with our lifestyle choices, we don't know y'all, so don't chase us around because really we have nothing to use. And that is so important. The tea is very nice. Sorry for that. Yeah, we always say do not chase us around about it. And don't manipulate the processes about it. And we are not difficult. And we are not abusive. And everything is acceptable. Yeah, so no one is difficult. Gonna have to be difficult on no one. Yeah, so it's amazing education and it's very nice. And how the camera sits, I think it's not nice. Amazing education, and the education is very nice, and the education is very firm, and the education is very constructive. Light not to ride. So we find our way in listening to everyone else's opinion, right? And to what everyone else is saying. And we also listen, yes, we listen to the environment itself. Because with pregnancy, it's easy, and with the babies and with the challenges of it. women and children are having, sometimes easy for everyone to just want to go on and to just want to change the whole process. All half of the generation away. But it's fine when everyone learns that, you know what, everyone is actually family, and family goes very, very far. You know, the Bible said 2,000 years ago. Family goes 2,000 years ago, and we should really sometimes allow ourselves to listen to what does the environment require of us in our seasons. Let us just sit in a better camera light way. Let's not say this. Like this, I have this angle is much better. That feels better, that angle. Yeah, so it looks like people just have to learn to appreciate one another a little bit more. Yes, look at how baby's kicking. Yes, having a baby teaches us appreciation. And appreciation is kind. Appreciation is not difficult. And appreciation is us not being challenging one another. And appreciation is us learning to appreciate the one the other. And it's not a difficult thing for humanity to get right. It's for the earth and the birth, and everyone's birthright is to be fine where they are at. And sometimes we are challenging one another, and other times we really have to learn that sometimes challenging one another can be depriving someone else, from where they're required to be at. I always say that there's babies and pregnancies and all the babies in the world and everyone wanting a baby, that everyone can really, there's babies creaking again, yes. Oh, baby's making a whole bunch of knock there. That everyone can really learn to know that we do not have to be jealous of one another and of what the one the other has. Yeah, so when I grew up at New Orleans, well, it was challenging. And I had to get through that season. In children kids, those years, the most challenging things happened, and my mama was at work. My mama was employed, and I was at school. And many times, they had to keep us behind because a lot of things happened those years in the community. And I remember I was this little girl, and I was running, and there was kidnappings happening in the community. And we were coming out of the school, and so many times this happened, and the cars who kidnapped the children came down the road. And I remember us walking, and the whole school's children walk, and we are a whole lot of children, and I'm in the middle of those children, and my mama is not there, and my family is not there because I'm walking with the next door neighbor's children. And I remember how we walked out of school and we were distant from school, and then the cars came, and the parents ran to fetch all their children, and there little RIBEA was. What's a New Orleans well close on? And I was so scared, and I had to make a decision that day. And I had to decide I'm either gonna go and run home or I'm gonna go and run back to the school because my mama is not there. And my mama is working, and all the mamas came to fetch their children, and no one knows who's mamas, and no one knows if it's other people that are picking the children, and the people pick the children, and we are all in this craziness there by New Orleans well. And I remember running back to school, and a lot of children said, "Let's run back, everyone," and we ran back into the schoolyard. And we ran back into the classroom, and we waited until the parents came to fetch us. And I, in that moment, had to learn to make fast decisions in life. And that life requires me to listen, even if my mama is at work, then I need to listen to what has Mama Universe educated me to do. How should I reason and how should I react? And there was a whole lot of stuff happening where RIBEA ELISE was at, and I can't even tell it because it's very creepy. When we walked from school, a whole lot of creepy stuff happened those years in RIBEA, and I cannot. If there's children listening in, I think there's no children listening in, but sometimes children listens with their parents to the video. And I could not even tell you all the things that happened where I went to school at. And so many times RIBEA had to run and had to make decisions and had to not go out of the school. And so many days we had to run back, and children was kidnapped, and a whole lot of stuff happened. And I was fine because I had to listen, not to only my mama being there, but to listen to Mama Universe that says, RIBEA, don't panic, be quiet, and now go into the school again. And I remember looking at the situation, and my eyes was very big. And I remember having to listen very quietly. And that's why we learn to not only listen to the voice of our parents in the universe, but to also listen to the universe's voice when we are educated on what is right and what is not right to do. And so today, those people are out there, someone says, and they know exactly who RIBEA is, that little girl. And but today, RIBEA is a little girl. They've learned from the situation. Many of them learned from what they were doing wrong. And many of those people who do that don't really want to do that. And they're just in unnecessary arguments in the world sometimes. When everyone is out of poverty, then those guys are not going to want to do that because there's going to be no need for them to do that because by now they're earning money to do that. And they're only doing those kidnapping things to earn a salary also every day. But when the world is out of poverty, then they are not going to be bothered to want to do that. Let's have some water. They are not going to want to. They're not going to want to disrupt the process. And they're not going to want to disrupt the way of life. And they're not going to want to disrupt where humanity finds themselves at. And they're not going to want to disrupt what we are, what humanity are being educated. And those guys are not going to want to disrupt us, and they also know what they're doing are wrong, and they also want us to the whole time educate them, the whole time through educate them. We educate them to say that we know that y'all are sometimes doing it because other people tell you all to do that. You'll know that y'all are sometimes in prison because other people told you all to go in to run after RIBEA because RIBEA is this one's child and to run after that one, but we know y'all don't really want to do that. And sometimes y'all just want to be fine also when y'all just sometimes also require an income to pay for houses and to pay for cars and to pay for food on the table and to have also a lifestyle that is fine for everyone. And that is why we always say that we educate our parliamentary leaders with the AWOKH Business, that our business is not that it should only be a professional house. No, our business is all over the place on social media. Yes, why? Only because the world has to accept everyone for who we are as human beings. The vloggers makes me very angry a lot, but the vloggers educate that the world has to accept us the way that we are. And when humanity learns to not fight one another, because RIBEA is today on an Instagram page saying it's a business page, and then she's posting a plate of food, then the business owners that goes on my page need to accept what I'm posting, because the world is like that. That in this world, this universe requires us to listen differently and to do differently on every day and every choice that we make in our lives. And if we do not educate our office managers and our office business owners that the world sometimes says it will be comes into the office, she's dressed in this, she knows not to dress inappropriately, and she works on her own pace. I remember I was working somewhere and they said I was sitting and sleeping. And they said, oh, underarms was one day, and someone says, "Oh, mouth was thinking," and they made a whole film about it. And they, Mama Universe maybe allowed RIBEA to have maybe underarm stinking. She allowed RIBEA that day to have a stinky mouth, but it did not take away the RIBEA in the house and in the office and in the business. And that's what our generation needs to learn. And Mama Universe educated that to the office, and the office was going crazy about it. And RIBEA was looking at the situation because I'm a very neat and tidy person. And I'm like, Mama Universe, why you doing this? Because this is maybe this person smelling like that standing here. It's the whole time it was like that. And we were in this little office and everyone comes in, and this person has got very long hair, Rabia sits there very black with very dark hair and very short hair. And this person comes in and sees the prim and proper one and sees this the most amazing thing that could have happened to the business. Yes, it's little Rabia can see walks out, and then people comes in, and then the office little smell a little bit. Maybe sometimes there was a little bit smelly in the office by Rabia, because honestly there was no windows also. But then I looked and then I learned, but it was not really me. And sometimes that person was really also smelling sweaty. And then she flowers her hair and she takes off her jacket and it seems like a whole different character. And then Mama Universe educated the office managers to not be so easily distracted. Because honestly, the world is very crazy and very smelly and very stinky and all over the place. And no one is gonna say who it is. But honestly, sometimes in life we just have to learn to not be so difficult and all of these processes. I wanted to do HR 2023 today, but I really, really, really am now really not gonna do another output to really do that education. We can do that maybe tomorrow because we haven't shared that on a Monday on our pages anymore, so we can do it for the YouTube live stream. We want to do most of our stuff on the educations on YouTube live stream. We can do that later tomorrow, yes. And then leading this generation talk, we're also not gonna rush with all of our discussions. We're really not gonna be difficult on ourselves. And then the person came, and the person then and this whole story goes crazy and the story goes everywhere. And yeah, and the people send me films. They say, Rabia, oh, the film said your underarms was stinking in the office, and the film said you have a mouth stinky, and the film said all of these things. And I saying, okay, now if you'll Google in and you'll have written the amazing film, because remember there's cameras in the offices and offices know it, and everyone is not dumb in this world. So Rabia exactly now learned that the offices are being Googled in because processes are being managed and films are being written to educate the world on certain things, right? So that's why they write the films. And they learn from the office environments themselves. And so when you see cameras in places, then you decide if you're going to continue to work there. Don't blame the camera being in the office about it. We all have a decision to decide whether we want to stay in an apartment or a house where there's a camera in when you are renting, whether you want to stay, whether you want to work in an employment where there's a camera in the corner office, because they write films and they educate the world on everything that we do sometimes, so that other people can learn from these processes. And they listen to how Mama Universe educates us in the office, and then they go and educate the world also what they learn from RIBEA, how RIBEA maybe was in the office, and what RIBEA educated, and it's an amazing process in the world. And yeah, so what then happened is, but what we require of those office Google in, I always say, is when there's Google illnesses, let people manage those processes who knows about the protective requirement of the employee. So we have a right as managers and business owners, and we can mention that when we are employed in offices and when the office have a camera in, we know that nowadays they write films from the offices itself. And people Google in on those films. And the people who Googles in, if those processes can be managed by the security companies so that women who are employed in offices don't find themselves endangered by the spreading of all of those films and all of the film is not the problem by the spreading of the Google in videos. That's RIBEA, and I don't really like her, or I do like her, and I don't really like the dark skinned people, or I do like the dark skinned people. So all of those processes, we need to want to manage that so that it's not abusive to RIBEA in the office about it. And we know RIBEA can say a whole lot of stuff. And and I'm always very learning a lot. No, we haven't thought of favorite names, everyone. If someone wants to ask us that, we really haven't thought. We have no one in our room yet, so we believe we're gonna have viewers and listeners and everyone in YouTube. I always say, don't block Rubia's live stream videos. Share it to the world, and don't educate the world to be against Rubia. Let the world listen also to what Rubia has to say. I know that YouTube are managed in that way that people nowadays have marketing managing teams, and they market the social media um, personal pages and business pages, and then they work sometimes with social media about it. So if the marketers work with social media and Rubia's work with the marketer and the marketers market with Rubia's work, then we require YouTube to now not block Rubia's videos for the marketer again to be paid, so that Rubia can now again have someone who views a video, because the process goes so crazy in our generation that the information is sometimes so important, but YouTube don't like Rubia, because maybe the YouTube owner was the one chasing Rubia down the street at New Orleansville Primary School. And now what the YouTube owner do is block Rubia's videos out, and Rubia now has to pay another marketer sometimes to allow Rubia's video to be played and to allow views and to allow all of those streamings. And sometimes we really need all of those information to be there. I always say, when Rubia's YouTube account got to 1,000 and YouTube has recognized it, they did all their checkings and they monitored the process and they checked all the subscribers, and now we have 1,000 subscribers. By that time, our videos should be allowed to be played. YouTube should not block it out. Viewers should now, by that process, already have the right to view our videos in different countries. Our videos should be released on a daily basis. When we have live stream videos and we are by 1K, right, 1,000 subscribers, by that time, the YouTube pages should have people who monitor and who releases our videos to viewers on a daily basis. Those are some of the simple processes that we want right in this world. Social media owners is amazing, but they don't like me because I say a lot of things about them. Because I'm always very reprimandative. I'm very firm and I'm very reprimandative. And Mama Anna always used to say, Mama Anna, she always used to say, I cannot read and write. And then I'm like, what does Mama Anna mean about that? But she really couldn't read and write because she was taken out of primary school when she was about in the first year in primary school. She was only a few days so in primary school. And she's so bad they wanted to bring primary school. You know, my mama was a very cute child, probably. I saw a photo of my mama when she was a teenager. We didn't have lots of photos when my mama was young. But no, I mean, when she was young, we didn't. But now in the olden years, we know our mama. But when she was young and a little girl, there was no like photos of that. And then my mama was always saying, I can't read and write. And now when I think back and I learned, what did my mama mean by I can't read and write? And then I realized that my mama actually meant that I cannot, as a person, explain things in a difficult way. Because many people in the world speak different languages, and they're not going to understand Rubia when Rubia gives you a word that is now so difficult for people to even learn to listen to what the word means, right? So I always speak in a way that is on a normal level so that everyone can understand what I educate, and so that people are not difficult on themselves. Because our parents can't read and write, everyone. So they are all part of us, and processes are managed by elderly people in our government a lot. And when elderly people in the community can't read and write, and elderly people are elderly people, then we must think about the age gap, the years difference of the way of reasoning. And when we as communities get angry with them, then we should learn not to think that they are old, but their way of reasoning is going to be for they're going to reason in a way that is fine for the elderly person to understand and to listen. So parliamentary leaders in our day and year are not difficult with us. They've done a lot of things wrong, but they are reasoning in a way that says that our generation should look at our generation in general, that includes our parents, and we should not want to implement processes that are only for the young children, but we should look at the elderly parliamentary leaders in the House, and we should learn to implement processes that are also for the elderly person in the House. Because the young generation of us are demanding a lot from our parliamentary leaders. You know, parliamentary leaders are firm in their rhetoric because they are educating a very firm message that I didn't even understand the language of it. And it's a very simple lesson, but it looks very harsh, but it's very in that the elderly people should not be disregarded in our generation. They should not be silenced out because they are now the elderly person. They should always also be recognized as the educator in the room or the listener in the room. You know, our parents, we shouldn't disregard our parents in decision making. And when we do not disregard our parents, when we are not difficult on our parents, and we are not difficult on ourselves, and we learn to be like children again, because parents educate us to be like children again. When they're older, they are like children, almost like children again. They reason like children, that they could little children again. Do they educate us in the full circle of it, in the completeness of it? I'm not only thinking that we are now the people in the house that wants to grow the house the way we want it, the vocabularies that we want to, and then the children kids look at the situation and the children kids are being chased down in our generation, and the elderly people say, but do not disregard your children kids in the house, and do not disregard where they come from, and do not disregard yourselves in the house, because y'all are challenging yourselves when you only think that you are now the generation of elderly people, or the generation that's leading, that's the parents in the room, and then the elderly people teach us this is the process, but do not be difficult on you, the parent in the house, and do not be disregardful to you, to the child in the house, and do not be excluding the elderly person in the house. It's an amazing process. I'm just going to have some more water. And another thing that we have learned in the amazingness and the craziness of our generation is that everyone is precious, very precious. But we would have to educate the parents, especially the parents that's now excited to share all the gladness. The parenting educations are important, yes. But with our parenting educations, everyone, I always say everyone is important. And everyone in our generation is very precious. And we should always, when we educate, and we want to tell RIBEA ELISE that this is where we find ourselves at in our lifestyle choices and in our privileges in life. If we want to tell RIBEA ELISE the person, then we, whoever we is the bloggers, if they want to tell RIBEA ELISE that this is their lifestyle choices, and they have planned themselves to brag by RIBEA ELISE about where they find themselves at. And they represent the children about it, and they represent them about it. Then they should not be against the RIBEA ELISE, the person, because why would you educate parenting and you are educating it to abuse someone else? I always say our vloggers are very, to me, very, very double-minded. They are very as if they want to speak to someone, but in the room they are trying to abuse someone else. And I always am very firm about who's our educators in our generation. Everyone have a choice to listen to who they want to listen to. But when I go through the vloggers videos, it's like the videos are directed to RIBEA ELISE. And then I always say, how did y'all know me as a person? How did y'all know this is RIBEA ELISE? Y'all are vloggers. You're in different parts of the world. I'm from South Africa. I'm currently finding myself in New Zealand. And this is my life journey. And maybe someone shared all the office Google videos in it, all the primary school Google videos to y'all. And when y'all are talking and y'all want to break to RIBEA ELISE and y'all want to silence RIBEA social media pages out, then y'all are parenting other people to be against y'all's children. Because RIBEA ELISE in the house is a child to this universe. Every human being in this house is a child to this universe. And when our vloggers want to brag with what they own and what they have to someone else, they do it in a very firm way, but they do it to abuse other people. And I'm very firm to say that I listen to them, to their videos, and I listen to what they are doing, but they are constantly directing it to certain people. And most of the videos look like they have been on a journey, and they've been on a journey with RIBEA ELISE, and they look in at me, and now they want to brag and tell me that. And that RIBEA ELISE always say it's abusive, and they're telling YouTube not to share RIBEA's videos because RIBEA should now be on YouTube. Do that on Instagram, and they did it with my sister Antoinette's Instagram account, and they constantly abused my sister Antoinette on Instagram, and my sister Antoinette left Instagram, and they send her abusive messages early in the morning, and she was H&M and all of those companies she worked with, and really the bloggers abused her out, and I went on Instagram because I was never really on Instagram. I had an account, but I was really not there. And then I went on Instagram when I came back from South Africa vacation in 2020, and I learned that they were abusing my sister, and they were pretending to be my sister's fans, and they were all cheering her on, and in the meantime, they were all trying to abuse her. And one day she said she receives constant messages on her phone that are abusive, and someone grabbed the mobile phone away from her, and then she bought herself another mobile phone. And then she stayed in England. And then she went off of Instagram and off of social media. Then she said I should go off of the pages. And then I said no, because then I learned that they were really the bloggers and all those women that were social media business owners. They were abusing my sister Antoinette Marley on social media. And I was very angry, and I went on in social media. And one of the people who abused her also was Malvina. And Malvina is a very good friend of the Aisha business on Instagram and on Facebook. Because Malvina grew up with us when we were little, and then Malvina was with the vloggers against Antoinette. And then I learned about the situation, and then I was like, this is not on, and this is abusive. And then I told Antoinette, but Antoinette, my sister, didn't want to listen. And then she said, no, but it's fine. If that's an abusive person, that's kind, probably. That's actually a very kind person. And I said, just be cautious, because people's reactions are really sometimes that they are trying to be in our houses, that they are trying to be our friends, and then they are actually against us, and sometimes trying to put our lives in danger because of jealousies. Because Antoinette's children are going to university, and Antoinette's a very well-educated and well-presented person all these years. And everyone really adored Antoinette as a person, and Antoinette educates very well, and she's very kind. And then they try to abuse her kindness, but they try to do it in a way that no one should realize it. And then I learned about it, and then I was like saying that's not on, and I was like going on social media, and then I learned that they were actually trying to oppress and abuse my sister. Yeah, so, and Malvina called her into the room one time on a parenting discussion on Instagram. And what does Mama Universe say, RIBEA? Go and listen there. The situation is not right. And then I said, Malvina, my business name is AWOKH. Can I have you actually on one of my videos? And Malvina never replied to me. I'm like that, I'm one of those sisters. And I'm like, you're not messing with my sister Malvina, because you are a very jealous person, and you are very corrupt, and you have been in corruption in South Africa with your grandfather's fostering business, and with real estate businesses with the Indian people. So y'all do not put my sister in all of y'all's rooms, because when Malvina is corrupt, and when Malvina visits Antoinette and she invites Antoinette into the house, and Malvina pretends to be Antoinette, and then Malvina wants to put all of her corruption blames on Antoinette. And Malvina's in the Netherlands, and RIBEA said, that's not allowed. my Antoinette sister out of yours discussions. And if you all want to corrupt the world, then you'll do that on your own terms. We are friends and family friends, and you're very good friends of our mama, but you don't mess with my brothers and sisters because I'm one of those sisters. Is I got my business and I do my business. But do not be disrespectful and don't disrespect my sister's house because my sister Antoinette Mali is a very kind person and she really doesn't argue and stuff like that. So don't disrupt her. And I was very firm about that. And Antoinette didn't like that, but I had to say it. Because you never know if these people really are abusing Antoinette in quietness there in England, and you really know this woman can be sometimes very devious. And Antoinette is really not like that. So I was very firm about it on social media, and I did a lot of videos on my personal social media page because we are from Pal community and our personal Facebook page. And I did a lot of videos, and I told Pal community that this is the problem, and this is the story, and this Malvina person I've learned ever since 2021, she's been a problem on Antoinette's social media page and on Instagram, and I reprimanded Malvina and in Pal community, in Pal community's discussions on my social media page. And I said, whatever Pal community and Malvina they were busy with, do not disrespect our family because we grew up together. And if anyone tries to corrupt or disrespect our houses, I'm going to be very firm with reprimanding. So yeah, sometimes I always say, don't ignore when people are doing stuff around you, but be very direct because our children kids can sometimes be affected by all of these corruptions in the world, you know. Antoinette said, don't make videos of your pregnancy because those videos stays on the page for years. But I understand where Antoinette comes from when she says, do not be angry with Malvina. She says, get to know the person. And I say that I don't have a problem with not being angry, but I'm not going to have her put your life in danger. And then these people sometimes know what they're doing wrong. And I've mentioned it before on my Facebook page that I traveled to Dubai. Dubai called me to Dubai in 2004 for music opportunity, right? And me and my brother was in a band in Dubai. And we traveled to Dubai and we got in Dubai and we listened to why did Mama Universe call us to Dubai and what was the process about. And we got back and they required us to do part in a different genre of music. And we said, but we are very old school and we're really very old person and they required us to do the latest music those years. And I remember my brother saying, but no, we are really not going to do that because this is our band and we are very old fashioned and we are very current to what feels fine with us at the time. And then we were there for about a month, just about over a month, and then we went back to South Africa. And we never questioned the situation. And after years, Malvina's family went to Dubai also. And I never realized what they went to go and do there until all of these years that I learned when I went to South Africa in 2020 that I learned that they were in communication about me and my New Orleans Bell School colors in my birthday, right, 22nd 11. And last year I saw on a page, on a birthday page, that she posted a photo on her birthday and she had this dress on, right? And I have this dress in my cupboard for years, right? And she had this kind of a dress on her birthday, right? And I bought this dress in New Zealand how many years ago already? And she had this kind of a dress on. And then she had a pose, and her pose was exactly, I can't even show you all now, my musi on my leg, my birthmark, right? It's like a musi like this, and I have one here, and I have one on my leg, and a post on her post on her birthday was exactly my photo shoot that I took last year in the month of May in Auckland, New Zealand. And I got a bit angry about it because, sensitivity, when people communicate about you and when people try to oppress your house and when they try to oppress your life or when they try to put you in danger, then it's one thing. But when they are trying to really kill you out, then it's something that we as human beings have to react upon the whole time. And Malvina had this dress on and she had this dress designed for her and she did a whole photo shoot about it. And then she did the whole photo post like I did in Auckland City. And then I reprimanded her about it because I learned in 2021 when I went on Facebook and Instagram that she's really much into our house and she really knows what I have in my cupboard and she really posted constantly on the pages. And then I was reprimanding the situation. And I didn't realize what was happening after quite some time. And this year, and by the end, by my birthday, November, then I said, but that's not right. That's where I'm at with my AWOKH business. And how does she have all of this information? How does she know exactly what's in my cupboard? And how does she know exactly that I have all of these clothes that I got from my sister and that I bought at certain stores? And then I learned that he's maybe trying to abuse or oppress or trying to blame a situation on our family. And I was and someone told me about it. I was working at Warren Bolded and I didn't realize. Someone told me about it twice in offices and I thought, why are these people telling me about the Malvina? And not twice, three times actually, yes. One person, I was at the hairdresser in Pau community and then person talked about her and then I said, why are you talking about her? What's actually the story? And then I didn't realize it. And then I got an employment with European people, the European office managers at Niblibet. And then one of the people was married to Malvina's previous sister came to me and he said that this and this and this. And then I say, wow, why are you actually saying that to me? But anyway. And then I got another employment because I said I don't remember Malvina. Who's Malvina? Because I remember that when we were little. And I really didn't worry about it because we moved to another community. And I then again worked at another office at Bolam Boulder. And then another person came and said, Nina's family again came in, and the person, and I was talking to them, and I was excited because I haven't seen those people before, and they were really good friends of my mama. And then I said, "Hi, how are you?" And someone came and someone said, "Oh, Rabia, you should be very cautious of this person, these people, because they're very corrupt." And you remember those years? And then I said, "No, because I was a little girl those years. I know about corruptions and things that people were in." And then the person said they were in Pal community in lots of discussions with British American tobacco in the New World Order that happened recently. And then I was like, oh, then the person said, just be cautious because really the world is very, very amazing. But some people really were in serious corruption discussions. And there's constantly people coming into Boland Boulder with guns in it. And I should be very cautious of what some people find themselves busy with in this world. And I said, oh, wow, but thank you for telling me. And then a few months after that, I someone resigned and I got another job and I didn't think about it again until these years that I really learned that that situation is now really not even people just telling me the whole time, but this situation is now really looking like there's someone trying to manipulate our household or our family line. And I was very, very, very firm on that on my Facebook pages. And I said, it's not on, it's not right. Maybe you're not guilty where you find yourself said, but you don't blame it on other people. Or maybe you're really involved in corruption, but do not go and disrupt Antoinette's house in England about it. And don't go and make a way to the UK family to show that Antoinette is now part of the corruptionness of y'all. Because honestly, this looks like someone here is trying to blame someone here about something. Yeah, but that is about it. America has written a lot of films about it. One of the films that America wrote to me about this dress was Princess Switch. When America said there's gonna be someone who's busy corrupting you, and I said, what does that even? And I'm thinking, what does that even mean? And the film Princess Switch explains this dress, New Orleans Vile stuff and things. I really don't know what it actually means. But yeah, that's about it, everyone. Let's enjoy our day further and let's enjoy our water and be cautious for those best friends because America educates us for years. Why? Because South Africans are busy acting out American films and they're really not acting it out, but it happens in their lives. And South African people are trying to be like African American people, and it can sometimes be very, very, I always say American celebrities they learn a lot about the sensitivity of what they're doing. And it's fine for everyone to say that they're going to want to go and do the same things. And it's also very fine to say that while they are trying to do a whole lot of things, we cannot go and also be the Ricky Lake in the whole this of our generation. It's interesting that everyone is now going to also want to be Ricky Lake about it. But when we look like them, we can't go and do the same thing. South African women today are looking like African American people a lot, and they're even doing all of those things. And then America says, "What's the film so that you don't find yourselves in danger in the situation because your lives are exactly the universe are exactly intertwined like that." And then the South African people, you can explain to them, they don't even listen to RIBEA ELISE. They want to argue with me the whole time. And I'm like, those films, living in a film, if there's films put on a Netflix on your phone, the Netflix team serves the films through to you, and the films tell you exactly where in the film lifestyle you find yourself at, and how the choices that you make, and they constantly shift the films through that are exactly for the viewer, so that we don't find ourselves living in the movies the whole time. Now, generation should learn to watch those films so that they don't find themselves living in the movies while they can really, while they don't have to eat a recollect out the whole day, you know? And that's what Jeanette say, maybe the person is not so bad. And I say, honestly, people are not that bad, but if they are finding themselves wanting to be celebrities and wanting to love that lifestyle, those celebrity houses can get hectic and crazy. And it's very sensitive, and not everyone has a sense process, and not everyone finds their way through those processes, you know. And it's fine for everyone to corrupt the world, but we must really be conscious of how is it gonna affect, you know, your family. We have children and we have family kids, and how is it gonna affect your family when you wanna corrupt the world, you know? But I admire my sister's kindness to hold on to not giving up on the education. Because for me to shut that whole Malvina person out is one thing. But for my sister to say that this is the education that we have received and these people grew up with us, and I'm firm to say that I really am not going to be, my sister is like, I'm firm to say I'm not going to be abused by whoever is trying to abuse Melvina, because if she's got a problem, then she has to deal with the problem. But as a person who grew up, who also receives my education differently, and is like, then she's not gonna give up on the person, Melvina. Rather, yes, she says, get to know the person, Rabia. Then I'm like, I know what you're saying, but be very sometimes our friends can really sometimes be our friends in our friend circle. And sometimes between a whole lot of friends, one is not there always. And one is sometimes deceased. And we sometimes have to question that process of it. And I'm like that. And I have not lost, and I thank God for it, any of my friends throughout my life journey. None of us lost our lives. And we are still very much fine throughout our ways of being friends, and we leave it like that. And our in our community, a whole lot of things happened. And we saw it with our very own eyes. But in our friends' upbringing, we went our different ways. And when we there, and when I'm in South Africa, then we sometimes meet up. But we really are not friends that that even are friends to fight an argument with the one with the other about. And our friends are very about that, because everyone should be conscious about y'all's friends in the house. Friends are friends forever, the song says. And the Lord is Lord of every one of us. But the friends shall not say no. But it's true. Friends are friends forever. But friends should really be very cautious, because some friends can really sometimes put a person in danger. And then friends don't say it. Jealousies. Jealousies also do that. I always say, I wonder if all the celebrities are really brothers and sisters. Because in that America, all the celebrities are brothers and sisters. Because in that crazy America, it happens even in households. That households are family, but it happens. And I always, in these days, I don't call it natural causes anymore. I really don't call it natural causes. I'm gonna speak about that again. I'm gonna speak about the fact that some in families, have you all ever checked in families? There's only one sister that grew till 90 years old, and the other one sometimes are alive until 50 years old or so. Now I'm in that mindset. No one is playing no one, but in our household, we were educated very right and fine. So our household is not against one another. But I have learned that the world is like that. That our parents used to be like that. There's one parent that makes it through, and the other parent that's that's still that is there. That was really now the parent that someone voted on. So I'm very conscious about that, but it's not happening in our family, and I'm not thinking like that. But when I'm thinking like that, I'm thinking of the outside people. Who's the outside people that can plan things like that in households? And I'm very firm about that education. That is about it, everyone. I'm very firm about what happened to my brother Richard and my mama Anna was 60 years old. Yeah, 63. My brother Richard was very young when he was deceased, and he was a very intelligent. And he learned us a lot. And I'm gonna still explain a whole lot of educations that he educated us about, and how firm his education was. His education was very much about family. But wow, we are at that. America has written some of the films, but I believe Mama Universe requires. Why should RIBEA Elise educated? Because in the womb of RIBEA Elise, there is a protective environment. And when RIBEA Elise educates what Mama Universe educated and has spoken to RIBEA Elise them about, then there's protection in there. When America educates RIBEA Elise from the celebrity house and they go and silence RIBEA Elise's videos out because they want to educate, then there's dangers happening in the world, kidnappings happening and killings happening. Why? Because Mama Universe knows why she educates from RIBEA Elise's lifestyle choices is going to be different from the celebrity that educates that same education. And that's why I'm always firm. Don't shift my videos away. Don't hide my videos away. Share my videos with the viewers because the world can be disruptive. Because my universe speaks to RIBEA about it. And she educates RIBEA Elise's journey, to RIBEA Elise and to other people viewing in. But she requires RIBEA Elise to do what she requires RIBEA Elise to do when she educates about RIBEA Elise's life journey. So celebrities get that process right and don't shift people's videos away. Don't be y'all viewing in RIBEA's life and y'all want to tell the story. Allow RIBEA at least to also give an opinion on her own story. Not an opinion, but to share what she's required to share to the community in general about that. That is the openness of our generation's requirement to represent ourselves and our birthright to your birthright to represent yourself, to advocate for you, and to do what is fine and protective about the education that you have received. It's one thing to go and educate everything that could be has done, how that we call it business restructuring. You structure it, you set it out, you say it exactly the way Mama Universe said to RIBEA, but you really didn't hear what Mama Universe said to RIBEA. And that's so sensitive. Because it's fine for everyone to say, we're going to do this, everyone. But it's not fine to say that we didn't hear everything. And then there's stuff that's not there that was meant to be there. And when there's stuff not there, and there's gaps there, and there was meant to be a finger and a nail and a hand and a hand, and the baby was meant to be formed, then how does the baby comes out? And where's all the other disabled people? Nowhere on social media, nowhere on television, nowhere to be found. Sometimes in the sports, no one want to view in and then, oh no, this, oh no, that. What does RIBEA say? We educate about disabled people, about people that are fine, about people that are not fine, about people that find themselves with challenges. I'm laughing at. Why? Because of the fact that I'm speaking about this and that I'm pregnant, but it's sensitive and we have to mention everything. We don't go and hide disabled people away. No. We don't go and hide no one away. We make sure that the world is for everyone acceptable. That is it for me, Ruby Elise. That is what I had to say today with our pregnancy journey. Have an amazing day further.